Boy, it's a firestorm. James Gunn being fired by Disney. Well, tweets, I guess, come back to haunt you, as a lot of people find out. Yeah, he was trying to be all kinds of cute, and now it's not all that cute anymore. But it is interesting to read stories, as I've done, of the last several days. Apparently, Rick and Morty creator Dan Harmon deleted his entire account. I guess he didn't want anything to come back on him. Let's see. Read a story about Rian Johnson, the director of Last Jedi. He deleted 20,000 tweets. Well, I mean, hey, he still works for Disney, and he liked to stay that way. He's set up to direct the new Star Wars trilogy. So, yeah, that's a nice gig to have. And, of course, a lot of people on the left, whether that's on YouTube or Washington Post, whoever, well, they are pissed off about some right-wing trolls getting people fired. Well, that's true. Apparently some guy named Mike Cernovich, I guess is how you say his name, I don't know. Well, he started this brush fire that got James Gunn fired. You know, and I don't agree with it. I think it's kind of crappy. But it's not like he made up some tweets. You know, it's his crap. And according to online reports, of course, this guy Cernovich has some questionable posts himself. Some questionable tweets about rape. And apparently he was, what he calls being falsely accused. You know, he did have to serve some community service over an assault, as I think that was what it was lowered to. But he claims that, no, he just banged some chick and she made up some stuff and whatever. I mean, it does happen to guys, but in light of how he got James Gunn fired, it looks pretty miserable, and he looks a little bit like a toad. But what are you going to do? You know, the tweets exist, and they're nasty. You know, James Gunn put them out there, trying to be Mr. Cute Guy. But, I don't know, everyone's up in this firestorm about it. But this isn't nothing new for Disney. You know, let me run through some of these. Rush Limbaugh was actually working for Disney, or ESPN, for about 4 weeks. And then he made some comments on air. I believe it was a Sunday morning show, and I was watching it. I remember it. But he was talking about Donovan McNabb, the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles at the time. And he said, you know, hey, you know, McNabb's overrated. You know, he's being overrated by the sports media because they want to see a black quarterback do well. And the Eagles have done pretty well for themselves at that time. They think they went to back-to-back NFC championship games, lost them both. I think overall they went to 5 in a row, got to a Super Bowl, lost that. And, you know, Disney for that fired Rush Limbaugh pretty quick. And then I remember the next day they're issuing all kinds of apologies. Or I'm sorry, it was the next week's broadcast. They were issuing all kinds of apologies. Remember Tom Jackson, I'm a fan of his. You know, he's like, I should have stepped up. I should have said something. And, of course, if you read about it now, they all say, oh, Tom Jackson interjected right away. You know, there's a lot of lies about it. And as it turns out, you know, McNabb, just a few years later, you know, the media did start questioning McNabb because he wasn't able to get it done. And, you know, in big games, he seemed to shrink, you know, throw a lot of balls in the dirt. That, you know, like a 5-yard pass goes in the dirt. You know, I thought he was a bit overrated. I thought he was a good quarterback. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. And, of course, all these same media types who were overhyping him back in the day, they all say, oh, well, no. McNabb's not a Hall of Famer. You know, he didn't have those kind of numbers. Really? I mean, he was the first black quarterback drafted high in the first round to be the franchise quarterback. I think that means something. He has a historical importance that no one wants to pay attention to. And even though I hate the damn Eagles, you know, I think you got to give McNabb that kind of respect. However, you know, Limbaugh was right at the time. He was being overrated, and that was backed up by the media. But it led to a big negative firestorm, and Disney doesn't like those big negative firestorms. So, bye-bye Rush. And he's not the only one. 10 years later, same thing happened to a sports reporter named Rob Parker. He was also working for ESPN. And I believe that happened, 2013. That's when he was canned. And the aforementioned canning was due to Rob Parker questioning the blackness of RG3, Robert Griffin III, who was the quarterback of the Redskins. Quarterbacks don't have a good time on ESPN. But, yeah, he's questioning him, asking whether he's a brother or a cornball brother. So, talking about how he had married a white woman, and there was rumors that he was a Republican. And that's what you'll read about the story of Rob Parker online in many different sites. However, I remember watching that episode of First Take that he was on. And what he was saying was that he was in the barber shop and there was this discussion going on. And he's heard more and more things about, hey, is RG3 really down with the cause? Is he, or is he kind of like Tiger Woods running from his blackness? Now, he didn't say that RG3 was a sellout or an Uncle Tom or a cornball brother or any of those kind of things. He was asking a question that he had heard being asked in a black barber shop by many different people. So he was just adding to that discussion. It got overblown. It got him fired. And that's ESPN. That's ESPN. And ESPN is owned by Disney. And like I said before, when controversy strikes and it makes the rounds in the news, Disney's going to act. And I don't believe I have to go too in depth with the Roseanne debacle on ABC, again owned by Disney, about the tweets that she made about Valerie Jarrett and the excuses that she offered. But it's another example of Disney's like, oh, look at this firestorm. Well, you're gone. That's what they do. They are consistent. And if you don't believe me, think about it. Rush Limbaugh is a conservative. Rob Parker, in case y'all don't, I am a Rob Parker fan, so you may not know, but he is a liberal. Roseanne, she's kind of all over the place. She's a Trump supporter. James Gunn, he's a Trump opponent. All right, he does not like Trump at all and is very vocal about it. And I've heard things about, oh, well, that's what got him fired because he went against the president. No, that's not what got him fired. Because how do you explain Roseanne? With Disney, I don't think it matters your politics or anything else. It's about negative crap that gets brought up into mainstream news. They don't want any part of it. All right, they're all about the family entertainment. Anything rated G, PG, and PG-13. They don't go any further than that. And if you're going to give them a red mark on their ledger, well, they're just going to rip your page out and throw it in the trash. That's what they do. Now, there's a lot of people saying, well, that's BS. That was 10 years ago. Disney doesn't care if it was 10 years ago or 20 or 30 years ago. All right, 6 years ago, Mr. Gunn, he had to deal with these problems. Someone had brought it up, but it wasn't a big news story. He addressed it. He apologized, said he was a changed guy. I don't know how much you changed from 41 to 51, but apparently, let's take him at his word. He learned his lesson. He stopped trying to be cute on Twitter. And, no more rape or pedophilia jokes for James Gunn. Okay. But the problem is, it was already out there. And he tried to delete them before it got any further, but by then, it's too late. And yeah, there was a little troll, I guess Republican or conservative or whatever troll, whatever you want to call that butthole. But he brought everything up and threw it back in the news. It gained traction. And of course, with the help of Ted the Zodiac Cruz, it really blew up. So, Disney's going to do what it always does. I don't agree with it. I don't believe they should have fired Rush Limbaugh, Rob Parker, or Roseanne for that matter. And I don't believe they should have fired James Gunn. But that's Disney. When you go to work for them, you better keep it PG-13, and that's it. Or they're going to shit can you. Period. End of story. There's no more to talk about. Now, that doesn't stop everyone from being pissed off. Well, go ahead. Knock yourself out. But just remember, these kind of shitty tactics have been used for a long time to cost somebody their jobs. And it's been used a lot by liberals. Now it's being used by Republicans, and it sucks. I hate this crap. I hate everything being polarized out the ass, and you're on one side or the other, or you're Hitler, or you're Chairman Mao, or some other BS. It's just getting old. I just want to be able to enjoy my movies, and I want to enjoy my music without being bombarded with all this political bullshit. But that's probably not going to happen, because there's no shortage of fake moral outrage, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. So screw it. Anyway, thanks for watching this damn video. I'll be back with something else. Bye.